So, good evening, friends. Hope you all are fine at your homes. I welcome all of you in our today evening session, which is a special session and special and also sensitive. So, our today's topic is lockdown impact on Divya. So before I proceed with the session, let me just tell you the brief, like why we thought of this particular topic. Because I'm sure everyone's life, हम सब लोगों की जिंदगी आज बहुत ही ज़्यादा बदल गई है. We are absolutely, like worrying about our future today because of this COVID का जो चल रहा है आज पूरी दुनिया भर में. बच्चे बोलिए, बूढ़े बोलिए या फिर men, women, सब लोगों को एक भी मतलब they are under fear, they are under stress. At the same time, what we realize that even our जो हमारे जो friends है, they are differently able जो है जो like डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ हम लोग उनको आज दिव्यांग बुलाते हैं. तो ऐसे जो दिव्यांग फ्रेंड्स जो है आज उनकी जिंदगी भी बहुत ही ज्यादा खतरे से भरी हुई है क्योंकि वॉट एवर डिवाइसेज दे आर यूजिंग for to assist them, these devices are more prone to like get this infection of virus. At the same time उनके जो केयर गिवर्स है they may not be available आज के सिचुएशन में. एंड ये सबसे ज्यादा हमें जब पता चला कि जब भी हम लोगों ने एक ऑनलाइन कॉन्टेस्ट वी हैड स्टार्टेड. सो दिस ऑनलाइन कॉन्टेस्ट वाज फॉर स्टोरी टेलिंग एंड पोएट्री रेसिटेशन एंड एट द सेम टाइम जो ड्राइंग की कंपटीशन हमने की थी विच वाज ओपन फॉर 3 to 60 प्लस का एज ग्रुप था. और उसके अंदर हमने also I had also we had kept this open for special category, but unfortunately we just could not receive good response in this category. So I started calling up my friends and who are working in this particular field, teachers boliye ya fir you can say even institutions, yeah, parents who have these children. So that time they were telling me forget about participating in these competitions. I mean, our life is gone for a toss, don't even ask us to get into any kind of creative activities because it's so difficult for our children to handle today. So that time I realized, and then I was talking to our today's speaker and also our judges of this particular competition. So these they immediately they accepted. They said yes, we need to work on this, we need to voice it out ki what are the situations, what are the conditions our divyanga friends are facing today. So I'm little nervous today. Why? Because there are certain terminologies which are used, and I've been from yesterday I've been talking to these my guest speakers today, and see today also I fumbled in the beginning because my experience with Divyang starts from my childhood, where I used to volunteer for my mother, when we were, she was a school principal in special school, and that time the terminologies which were used were completely different, and today I'm sure they are very different. So, I was so much in tension, so I'm like fumbling in the beginning, but I think now I'm normalized. So by mistake, anytime if I fumble, if I, use some wrong words which were used 20 years 30 years ago, so please forgive me. It's nothing to I should be politically correct also, but yeah, at the same time it's a genuine effort. What we want to voice it out is the kind of situation. See, we don't though as Parisar Asha we don't work directly with disabilities, but yes, we are a true believer of inclusion. So whenever we work with schools, we are working, for inclusion. We advocate, we are doing advocacy for inclusion. And this particular session, our Ask the Expert session, is started. It's an offshoot of our helpline, which is, like with the great support of Capgemini, we have started 3 years ago, because when we started realizing, when we work with schools, we take care of, school environment, academics, and all other issues. We work with teachers, but this child is, like only spending 5 to 6 hours in the school, but then maximum time the child is at home. So that's how it's very important even to educate our parents. So for that, we started with this parenting helpline. It's a completely free service. We have psychologists, we have counselors, we have psychiatrist on board. So anytime anybody would want to have this, avail this service, they can always call us on a helpline. We will be flashing a helpline number also later. But during COVID time, what we realized, it is not going to really, help, will be of any help to only, we restrict our operations only for parents and children. So that's where we had extended that for everyone, like whoever is under trauma, under fear, under any kind of depression, anxiety, you are most welcome to talk to our counselors, and it's absolutely free. We are not going to charge anything. And okay, so today's session, as I was saying, I was a little nervous because it's a very, very sensitive topic, and we are not really vocal about that, because yeah, unfortunately, I was watching certain videos, before we could actually come up with this thing, and I realized, like there was one particular person with disabilities. He was expressing, it was some international video, and they said ki we are anyways, socially distanted. We don't have, that kind of communication anyways with the people around us. And now though, it is like a major situation in our lives, and nobody is there to even voice it out. So this is a platform, what I thought, we can give the voice to this particular situation when we are talking about education is going through different difficulties. But we are not talking about our children who are, like with special needs. What about their education? We are talking about people losing jobs, but what about our, the younger friends who have lost their jobs? First of all, it's so difficult to get them, jobs, get them in the mainstream. And here I would also like to say that Parisar Asha has been really blessed to have, Divyang as my co-fellows, and they have been working with Parisar Asha for almost 25 years. So in a true sense, we believe, and it's not only believing, but we practice inclusion. So coming back to our today's, veteran speakers and very good friend of mine, I would like to introduce now, and I'll be just reading out their information because I don't want to miss out on anything. So I will start with Madam Geeta Castellino. So Geeta, welcome to this our Ask the Expert series, and I would quickly read out her introduction. So when Geeta Castellino was 2 years old, she was diagnosed with polio, a disease that took away her speech and caused her to lose the use of her feet and the right hand. But Geeta had dreams of a happy family, and she wasn't going to let her polio get in the way of them. Through therapy, she regained her speech at the age of 6 and then learned to walk again. By the time she was 18, Geeta had accomplished even more. She had learned to drive using a car specially designed to be operated by hand, and she had started pursuing her career with a position as a lecturer. I still remember, Geeta, I met you at Oberoi's. And see, I still have that, I don't have that confidence to drive in, Mumbai's that traffic. And the way you drive car, it was amazing. I was like completely in awe. It's been like now almost 12 years. I know Geeta personally, and she's really, really close friend of mine, and more than friend, she's an inspiration. She's an inspiration to us. And now today, Geeta has been consulting, many people under this COVID pandemic, and also before that. So she is a social psychologist, educationist, CSR consultant for corporates and NGOs, and has been on various educational boards and universities, and has worked with rural Maharashtra, working with 23 educational institutes as CEO of a renowned organization and inspiration to the global youth at present, counseling for COVID-19 and helping PWDs, that is persons with disabilities. So I welcome you officially, Geeta. So now I'll go back to Ritika. So Ritika is, yeah, I mean, another talent, you know, like full of talent. She's a talent bank, but at the same time, she has dual careers. And how? I'll just give you a brief introduction. So Ritika Sahani has an interesting dual career, dividing her time between playback singing, live stage shows, and spearheading advocacy initiatives for 390, the NGO for disability awareness that she founded, where she also works as a trainer and a consultant in disability inclusion. She is the first Indian female artist of Sony Music in India, with a host of solo albums in Hindi and Bengali. Notable among her many hits is Tumse Mili Nazar from the film Main Madhuri Dixit Banna Chahti Hu. She also performs regularly with her inclusive music band Pehli Barish, comprising disabled and non-disabled artists, and produces original music for children. So Ritika, thank you for, you know, like immediately accepting my invite for this particular our session. So I welcome you. And we have one more very interesting personality over here. Shabina, can I see you? Shabina, if you can, are you there, Shabina? Yeah, hi. Yes. So Shabina is a special educator for the deaf, sign language interpreter, running Center for Higher Education for Deaf at Masjid as age tutorial, working as manager in Eklavya Foundation. And I'm really happy that today even this director of Eklavya Foundation, Shantila ma'am, she has also joined us. So Shabina is going to actually interpret the entire session in sign language. So I hope, Shabina, if you know, like you can continue interpreting whatever our speakers are going to say, but at the same time, maybe, you know, like after we have little more time, then if you can, in a nutshell, if you can just, you know, like show the gist in your sign language, so that, you know, people who have missed out on earlier thing. And since this is a Zoom session and this is not a webinar, you know, like officially, so maybe the small windows can be seen. I mean, it's not a speaker's view or something. So that's where, you know, maybe we can give you a little time and you can help us out, where you will help the you know, like our speech and hearing impaired friends, so that they can understand better. So yeah, now I come to Geeta. Geeta, welcome. And can you share your experiences post-COVID? Because I have read about all your achievements and everything, and you have been helping, you know, like so many people in this pandemic condition. But can you also have, I mean, throw some light, like how even your, you know, like life has been, you know, what you are going through right now?
As it is with this new normal uncertainty and COVID-19 pandemic, lives have disrupted completely for almost everybody. Uh, I think it's more additional barriers are there for the persons with disabilities, and the daily lives, it's like it's impacted in such a manner, especially acute with people living with disabilities. Many new ways of learning is also there, definitely, but more than that, I think that there are so many barriers that people have started to also getting stressed out about it, that how do you manage to survive in this pandemic, basically. And post pandemic is more stressful because nobody knows yet what is happening. So I would like to first of all say that, last almost 3 months I've been counseling for COVID-19 cases for depression, and almost every day about 7 to 8 people have been counseling. And that is, they keep on repeating, the counseling gets repeated basically, but most of them have got depression because of certain things, and many of them have lost their jobs. There are housewives who've got a lot of problems because their child is either disabled, or even if normal children are there, the children are there in the house is very small. There are too many people in the house, which usually you don't see, because in normal lives most of them are outside, school going children, husband is always outside. Now everybody is, many of the times, in small houses, especially when you do not have space. It's really difficult for people to also deal with situations. And I think that is how people have been getting into depression. But more, I feel today we should talk about additional barriers which persons with disabilities have. So the first and foremost thing is communication, which has become so very important. And the getting information can be so difficult for people, especially when television channels or when newspapers have not been coming. Like last almost 8 to 10 days, the newspapers have started coming into the houses, but there have been times when there are no newspapers. So it's becoming very difficult for persons with disabilities to even have some kind of a communication to understand what is happening. Many of the times the family members are there, some of them could be illiterate, some of them do not know how to express themselves to these people. So popular news sources may not be accessible, especially when information is very very quickly changing. So these are the kinds of things. Second barrier is also including adopting recommended public health strategies, because those strategies definitely are very very important, and even for persons with disabilities, they value it, they know that they need to follow, but many of the times it becomes very difficult because of their situations. So it could be when you're talking about social distancing, you're talking about even washing your hands. Many of the times with physical disabilities, it could maybe not possible to keep on washing your hands using sanitizer, because they need certain kind of help. There are times when even with people basically with communication as well as with these strategies to follow becomes very difficult. Like for visually impaired, uh, most of their thing is with touch, so becomes so difficult for them to not touch somebody or not communicate with somebody in such a manner, because other people are also quite wary of that particular touch, because we are always talking about social distancing. So this is another, I think, second barrier also. And another thing also I feel is a third, access to healthcare is a long standing barrier. When it comes to healthcare, there have been people who cannot get through medical stores because of the pandemic situation, because of the lockdowns. uh, no accessibility to vehicles, no accessibility to taxis or even public transport. That's another big hassle. So these are the kinds of things which I think are becoming more and more jittery for people with disabilities. And maybe you can ask me another question so we can, or maybe Ritika can talk about. You are on mute, Aarti.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Geeta. So definitely, I mean, in spite of you being, like so well educated and, like I mean, you come from a very good family also. So you are facing so many troubles. So I'm sure like our other friends who are, like not coming from so blessed background, we can't even imagine what life they must be leading right now. So coming to Ritika, as I was introducing about Ritika, that she has dual responsibilities. So Ritika, can you tell us about your journey with 390? I mean, how do you, I mean, thought of coming up with something like this, and what exactly you do in 390? You're on mute, Ritika.
Thank you, Aarti. Can you hear me well today?
Yes, yes, I can see a big,
have...
nice mic also over there.
Because I didn't want you all to go through what you.
Yeah, but still, you can be little more louder.
Yes, I can be. Yes, just give me one moment. Yeah, can you hear me now better?
Yeah. Yes.
Is it better now?
Yes.
All right. So I'm from Kolkata, and I did my master's in music. And after music, so I'm coming straight to that. After music, before, while I was in my school, in my college, and in my graduation, I was always volunteering. I was always volunteering for organizations who were working for children with disabilities. And that's how I don't have a reason that I wanted to do that as a volunteer. And I volunteered for a school which used to teach children with autism. Then I went on to doing I finished my graduation. And after graduation, it's a very interesting story. After graduation, I started, just before one decides to do something else, I started to go back to that organization to work with the set of children with autism. And on my way to that place, there was also a school for children with hearing impairment in Kolkata. And they used to teach in sign language, in American Sign Language. That was the only school in Kolkata used to teach in American Sign Language. And on my way up and down, I always used to see this set of students constantly laughing and joking and cracking jokes, and I would feel so disabled because I had no idea what they were saying, but I knew that they were having super fun. So I decided one day to walk into the school to ask them that, what are they doing? What are they? I mean, I knew they were signing, but what were they doing? So the lady of that, the principal of that school, as all good leaders are, she immediately saw that I was interested and asked me whether I would like to do my B.Ed in deaf education. Now, the most important thing that I think anybody who knows me knows that I really flow with things. I don't really get down to planning things. I flow with the tide. So when she said, you want to do B.Ed? I said, I want to do B.Ed. And at that point of time, Aliyavar Jung was the only place in Bombay offering B.Ed to anybody who wanted to do it in the country. So I came to Bombay, did my B.Ed in deaf education, and that's how the journey in the field of disability started. So I have spent about 30 years being a teacher of deaf children, being an inclusive support teacher from day one of my career, wherein there were children who were deaf who never went to school for deaf children. They used to go to regular school and they used to come to me every day for support services. So I, believed in inclusion from day one, after which I was very interested in teaching deaf children music. And that's where masters in music happened. Of course, after masters in music, I for some reasons, I got professional. I in Calcutta, I started my professional career as a singer. But not many people are aware that I continued to sing and release albums. And even when I shifted to Bombay, I continued my work in the disability sector. So when I was in Calcutta, I was working for the Indian Institute of Cerebral Palsy, an oral school for deaf children, and running my clinic. When I came to Bombay, I started working for Spastic Society of India, which is now called ADAPT. I was heading the speech and language department. Again, working with children who were deaf and had associated problems. And I was working on communication strategies for them. Trinayani happened in 2006 for a very interesting reason, Aarti. And I'm sure everybody who's listening would understand that if we are told that, if approximate estimate 10%, if 10% of the population of India are persons with disabilities, then 90% are people without disabilities. However, if this 10% has to survive, has to lead a good life, has to lead a life and fulfill their dreams the way all of us have dreams, then this 90% has to be aware of the 10%, because the 90% are making all the decisions. Whether my child will go to school or not is decided by the principal, who most of the time is non-disabled. Whether my child will get a job, whether he will go to a cinema hall, whether he'll be able to access the toilet on the road, whether he'll be able to access the public utilities, services, the decisions are made by the 90% of the population. So Trinayani is my offering to the disabled community to see how the 90% can be converted to become doers, to become decision makers who, while they're making decisions, keep in mind the interests, the needs, the desires of the 10% of the population who are disabled. So all the work we do at Trinayani is to change perceptions, to challenge stereotypes that the non-disabled people have about disability. Because कोई भी अपने होशो हवास में गलत काम नहीं करना चाहता, कोई नहीं करना चाहता. अगर कोई करता है तो वो शायद इसलिए करता है कि उसके पास जानकारी नहीं है. So it is a matter of giving them the right information, the appropriate information, and then it is very easy for some, because making some adjustments is not a big deal. It doesn't take a lot of money, it doesn't take a lot of, but at times people want to do things, they are not aware of how to go about it. So that information is what Trinayani provides to them. And as you said, I'm a singer. So since I like creative medium, since I'm speaking to an audience who is not disabled, and not being interested in disability is a very natural thing. So I use the creative medium a lot, whether it's singing or theater or puppetry or dance or song, to talk to the non-disabled people. So that's Trinayani for you.
That's wonderful, Ritika. In fact, I would like to say over here something that this time when we made the collateral, and usually what happens with our these sessions, I keep posting on different groups, you know, like that's how we can reach out to people. So this time when I posted, I got some responses were really nice, like it's a nice topic what you have chosen. Some of them I got, you know, like how responses, okay, send us something which is related to us, then we will attend. So I was quite shocked. I said, what do you mean by that? You know, because they said, "Nee, last time you had na, that was at women's ka tha. You gave nice beauty tips and all that stuff karke over there." So, I mean,
so until everybody realizes, Aarti,
yes,
that it's everybody's responsibility.
Absolutely.
Making a better society, a better world.
ना, मेरे घर पे जब तक कोई नहीं है, और neither I am a teacher of, you know, this. So, why should I be bothered? जब तक मेरा नहीं हो, जब तक मुझ तक नहीं आएगा, तब तक I will not be bothered, right? I will not be sensitized. So that's where, you know, it is very important for whoever are teachers who are, you know, like watching this.
Yeah.
Please, we need to really create an inclusive society, and for that, inclusive education is equally important, because we need to sensitize our children, and this is the only aim of, you know, having this particular session over here. And I'm glad that so many people have joined us today, and this is going live on Facebook, and I can see many people joining on Facebook also. So
Aarti, I must tell you, ऐसा नहीं है कि it won't touch us, because when you talk about disabilities, you talk about functional disabilities, and I will like to mention the 21 disabilities that are recognized by the government. But there is also elderly disability. ये disability हम सबको कभी ना कभी, whether it is loss of memory or you know, loss of your sight or hearing issues or diabetes or, you know, Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, ये चीज खुदा ना खास्ता ना करे, लेकिन अक्सर देखा गया है that with age disability does come. Yes, you're closer to being disabled.
Yes.
So and I don't think we should wait for it to happen to us. I think we should just be proactive in seeing that whatever, if a little bit from our end can make a entire, it is the largest community in the world. People with disabilities are the largest minority community in the world. ये हमें याद रखना पड़ेगा. और इस community को हम सब किसी भी समय we can join it. One accident and you're part of that community. Absolutely. So we have to be very careful.
Yes. No. So we have to really thank God for every day. I mean, this day is gone perfectly. So Ritika, can you please tell us, like, what are those 21 disabilities?
Yes,
has been listed,
because and I'm glad you asked us that question. जैसे सबको मालूम है कि 1995 का जो बिल था, we used to recognize, it used to recognize 7 disabilities. In 2016, the rights of persons with disabilities was passed, and now the government recognizes 21 disabilities, and they are blindness, low vision, leprosy cured persons, locomotor disability, dwarfism, या जिसे हम short statured persons जिसे कहते हैं, intellectual disability, जिसे आम तौर की भाषा में mental retardation कहा जाता था, जिसको हम व्यवहार नहीं करते अब, mental illness, cerebral palsy, specific learning disabilities, speech and language disability, hearing impairment, जिसमें deaf and hard of hearing दोनों आते हैं, muscular dystrophy, acid attack victim, I would rather say acid attack survivors, they are also now disabled, considered to be disabled, Parkinson's disease, multiple sclerosis, thalassemia, hemophilia, sickle cell disease, तो ये 3 blood disorders भी include किए गए हैं, autism spectrum disorder, chronic neurological conditions, multiple disabilities, which also includes deaf blindness. So 21 disabilities, and that's where the pandemic has created a lot of havoc, because many in these disabilities have yet not got their disability certificate. They are still trying to grope with the knowledge कि अरे अब हमें disability के इस पे लाया गया है. So again, the blood disorders in this pandemic, जहाँ hospital में जगह नहीं है, जहाँ जाने के लिए transport नहीं है, अगर एक thalassemia patient को blood transfusion करवाना है, तो वो कैसे करेगा? अगर एक wheelchair user है जो कैथेटर पहनता है और अपने हाथों का इस्तेमाल शायद नहीं कर पाता, तो वो अपने केयर टेकर का इंतजार करता रहेगा जब तक वो आके उसको उसका कैथेटर नहीं बदलेगा. So there, when you start thinking about the issues that has been that has created havoc in the lives of persons with different disabilities. And yahan Aarti, with your permission and Geeta's permission, I must say, let our audience please know that every disability has its own specific challenges. Just because I'm on a wheelchair user doesn't mean that Geeta, who is using a caliper, or if Geeta was using a wheelchair user, her challenges would be very different from my challenges, because we are all individual. इसलिए हम इसे ये जो homogeneous group में हम डाल देते हैं ना, ये गलत है. तो हर disabled इंसान अपनी अपनी challenges से जूझ रहा है, और कुछ लोग बहुत ही बुरी हालत में है. ग्रोसरी का उनको मिलना, ग्रोसरी लेने के लिए कौन जाएगा अगर घर में वो अकेले हैं? अगर इंडिपेंडेंट भी हैं लेकिन इतने इंडिपेंडेंट नहीं है कि शायद खाना खुद खा सके. Somebody has to feed them. So there are lots of challenges.
Yeah. So Geeta, I would like to ask you over here something कि government की तरफ से कुछ उनको help वगैरह दी जाती है क्या?
It's more than the government. I also want to say that people with disabilities have often not been considered in a disaster or pandemic situation. What could be done? So that is something which needs to be, and now this kind of a thing has suddenly come up, that COVID-19. So, but now we are aware about what is happening and what is it that we need to do. And I think we will have to have a committee. The government will have to have a committee which decides and thinks about the persons with disabilities in a more better way, so they can actually accept things. But I think Ritika wants to say something.
Yeah, because Geeta, the guidelines were actually government came out with a guideline.
Yeah.
They came up with a guideline, but the question is the implementation of the guideline. Guideline to March 5th को ही आ गई थी.
Around 23rd of April, but they are not being implemented. So
implementation की बहुत जरूरत है. They've also decided to give 1,000 rupees. Finance minister decided, लेकिन 1,000 रुपए लेने कौन जाएगा या उन तक पहुंचेगा कैसे? So वो भी एक issue आ जाता है. So there
but
is.
उनके bank accounts वगैरह जैसे अभी now like under lot of schemes, bank accounts are mandatory. So I mean,
they had asked for it and they had taken everything, but how many people have actually
got it?
Another matter. So definitely.
And some helplines have been started. National NCB.
I think we can also show the slide where all these contacts we can give, where the helplines are there. BMC has also started a helpline where for senior citizens as well as for persons with disability. So they say that you have to have patience for about 24 to 30 hours, that they will definitely come to you. And many of them have also told me that they've actually received groceries, and it is a free service. That you have to pay for your groceries basically, but it's a free service, and from the nearby areas people have been going through BMC and providing food for them. If they require prepared food, they give prepared food. If they want groceries, they want vegetables, they've been doing this work since March, end of March. So it's a very, very good effort from BMC's side. Definitely. And there are also, I think we have the slide with Parisar Asha. We can
we'll show it. We'll show it later, because where we will share the contacts if anybody wants any kind of help.
I think we were also discussing yesterday when we were talking about it, that inclusive education.
I was going to come to that. In fact, if you can tell us your experiences when you were like in school.
Like I came from a middle class family basically, but education definitely mattered, and my parents have been a great support because they never made me feel abnormal anytime. But at the same time, I think when it came to, I studied in a normal school in Mumbai, in a Marathi medium, Balmohan Vidya Mandir, one of the very renowned schools. And the founder and principal of the school, Shri Dada Saheb Rege, when I was admitted there, That time I could not walk properly basically at all, and my speech was also not proper. uh, my mother started going and sitting in the class like with me outside the classroom. But after about 5 to 6 days of school, some of the parents, about 10 parents, 10 or 11 parents, went to the principal to say that we would not want our children to study in a classroom where a handicapped child is there. And that became a little bit of an issue which I did not know till I finished my 10th standard, because my parents never told me about this, and I was told by the founder only after my 10th standard results. But then a time came when my parents had to be asked to come over and what can be done, and my father said, is it possible for me to talk to those parents and convince them, because my elder sister was already there in the school. She was studying in the school. So then principal somehow thought that instead of most probably my parents talking to them, he said, I think give me 1 or 2 days and we'll see what to do. And the next day he called all those 10, 11 parents, and he had already had living certificates ready for those children. And that was something which was, I think, a foresight also, that he had, that he told them that I'm going to keep this child in the school. I'm going to have inclusive education for handicapped people, handicapped children. If you feel that your child cannot study here in this school, then maybe I have your school living certificates ready with me. You could take them and you could admit your child anywhere. And there were 6 students who left the school, but the rest 5 students were still there, and they studied with me till the 10th standard. Till 4th standard, I never went to school actually, because uh, uh, my hospital was my second home. From 7:30 in the morning till 12:30 physiotherapy, then speech therapy. Then we used to come back home for lunch. After that, my mother used to take me to the beach for sand therapy and things like that. So it's after that I also did 1.5 hours of swimming at MGM swimming pool at Shivaji Park. That time 3:30 to 5:30, 2 hours were specially for polio patients.
Oh.
So I did swimming for continuously swimming for about 10, 11 years. And I think with all this, there was no scope to attend school. So till 4th standard, the principal had also allowed me only to appear for exams. From 5th standard onwards, my school bag would go to the school first with my brother or sister, and then I would go at 12:30. So that was the case, and I studied that way. But I think with all this, with that inclusive education, it definitely helped me as well as all my friends who were my classmates or who were in the school. I used to come by school bus, and I think it definitely helped also for my confidence building. I could learn a lot through them. They could learn a lot. That awareness was created. They knew what my shortfalls were, where my weaknesses were, how they could help me. And every time the classmate would try to help me out in something or the other. So I think it made a lot of difference. But sadly, after 52 years, also I see the same fights happening, that in for inclusive education, the child, the person with disability, the handicapped children just do not get admission in the normal schools, because they have to have a special educator there, special teacher there to be there with that child, because one normal teacher cannot, with 30 60 students in the classroom, it's not possible for them to also look after that. But it's very, very difficult. And today, those who have actually taken up these handicapped children, I think they are doing a good job, because which is very important, I feel. Another thing I would also like to say is, when corporates are doing CSR work, I'm doing a lot of CSR consultancy with a lot of corporates, with a lot of NGOs. I think that many of them, when they talk about CSR being done through education, and when some of these people go and say that, we would like to have in a municipal park or in a private park, if you can have 1 or 2 jhulas for children with disabilities, and they say no, we are really sorry, but what we are doing CSR for is education. Is it not education? Is this not education? When we are talking about this, I think when people start playing, when children start playing with each other, they learn so much from each other. This is a part of education. And I think these are the kinds of things people should not be even having fixed ideas in their mind. Be open minded so that it becomes easier for you to learn. I think today every day we learn something or the other. So there's nothing wrong in saying that, oh, I've learned something at the age of 55, which is very, very important. That society needs to be aware, society needs to learn. Many of the times I feel today in this pandemic situation, it could have been completely different scenario if our people, our citizens knew more about what different disabilities are. It would have been really. I'm also going to talk about the societies, the cooperative society, housing societies where we are living. I'm living like an independent adult, basically a disabled person. Fortunately enough, the residential complex, the housing society where I'm living, they're the most cooperative. But I have seen most of the cooperative societies are non-cooperative, and it is very, very sad because I know quite a few friends of mine who have had a lot of problems, a lot of people who have also been counseling with me for depression. And one of the reasons is that they have not been getting the cooperation from their neighbors, their building people, because many of the times, especially what also happens is a lot of them need care, special care, maybe caregivers, or they are not there right now, or even the maids who come every day, and it becomes so difficult for them. Like I myself, for 3 months, I on my own decided, it was not, my society did not force me, but I myself decided that I will do all the house chores as well as do my professional work also. But after 2.5 months, I started getting so fatigued, because there are certain things I'm not a superwoman, so I cannot be, and I do not even need to prove to somebody that I can do something and everything, and that is what I am, and things like that. So I think it is very, very important for people to understand, for government to also give certain proper directions. That you cannot be politically correct always and say that if you feel, or if the societies feel, let them take the decision, because the societies will never take such
Yeah.
decisions. So it
Don't
is
you think,
always better.
Geeta, don't you
Yeah,
think at the end of the day, the answer is education? So the answer
absolutely.
And
is
the right
inclusive
education.
education.
See, Parisarasha
Answer,
always talk about government says right to education. We say right to right education.
right education.
Absolutely.
What are
And
you teaching is also very important.
and
Very
I
true.
must say that, Geeta, I mean, since I work a lot in the education sphere, things are not so dismal, because people, students, principals, administrators are waking up to the possibilities that their disability is here to stay. Every child has the right. It's a question of human right. And when you have a child with disability in a school, I mean, of course, the child who's disabled benefits, but the child who's not disabled benefits much more, in the sense of knowing about diversity, because the more we are aware of diversity, we just become better people. At this point of time, we have 21 disabilities. There'll be another 5 new ones. You never know what's going to happen. So I think principles, ऐसा नहीं है कि सर्व शिक्षा अभियान के तहत हो रहे हैं, inclusion हो रहा है, and children with and without disabilities are together in classes. We have a long way to go, but it's definitely happening. And
Right.
that's where also people are getting, now that's also, unfortunately, this has been affected in this pandemic, because now the students are not going to schools. So they are at home. So a child with disability who was gaining out of being in a classroom in a school is now sitting at home for the 2-3 months, with the mother having to cope with not only the child with disability, the family, and whatever all of us are going through. So I think it
Household.
has propounded the whole situation. There are so many online webinars, online workshops happening, but you also need to be then technologically savvy to be able to access those workshops on online. So it has, but I must say, inclusive education, and as Aarti rightfully said, right to right education, to teach the right things is very important. And if there are parents who are listening to us here, we must they must understand that कभी कभी जैसे आपने कहा, Geeta, you had a leader of a principal who said that, hey, I have decided my doors are open for everybody. Geeta's walked in like your child. So your child is also here, Geeta is also going to be here. But there are so many parents, as you know, who kind of, they are the ones who create barriers. So inclusive education, याद रखिएगा, possible तभी है जब हर इंसान अपने अपने कर्तव्य करे. Parent of the child who's non-disabled should be saying, oh yes, I want my child to be exposed to all diversities. The principal has to say yes. The teacher has to say yes. The ancillary staff has to say yes. The bus conductor has to say, हाँ, मैं उस disabled बच्चे को उठा के, मेरा बस accessible नहीं है, लेकिन मैं बच्चे को उठा के बस में रखूंगा. So inclusive education एक इंसान का काम नहीं है. इस जर्नी में बहुत लोगों का साथ है, और वो सब उनको अपने अपने काम उसी करना पड़ेगा, तभी जाके ये सफलता इसको मिल सकती है सम्मिलित शिक्षा को.
No, very rightly you said, Ritika. Ritika, I would like to ask you now, matlab, since you don't work directly now with children, right? I mean, in your that
No longer. No,
no longer.
I work with children, but I design workshops and campaigns for non-disabled communities.
Right.
So schools where it could be an inclusive school, but it's not a school only for children with disabilities.
Right. No, and but then how are you managing now with your 390? Because post-COVID, I'm sure it must have, got a real hit because of this. The kind of services you were providing, like 390 was providing. So can you just share your experiences?
दो तीन चीजें आरती. The one major hit that as far as 390 is concerned is the services of our blind therapist of Sparsh Foot Spa. So as you know, I started a spa in 2011, which was the livelihood initiative of 390, where I used to employ blind therapists to give massage services. And they used to go to a lot of corporates, a lot of events, because it was also a way of changing perceptions while they were gaining their livelihood, while they were also getting money. Now, with the COVID, when for some of us, it's social distancing, but for some of us, it's physical distancing. So people have distanced themselves. My therapist and the numerous 100, 150, 200 odd therapists in Bombay, they are without any job now. Because as you know, even when the parlors will open, some of them have opened, there will be no services like facial or massage that will be offered. Now, this was being done by blind therapists, but they are now without jobs, and we are trying to figure out how else to now get them to maybe learn another skill. A skill development is something. So and that's where, as Geeta said, you have to counsel them, because they've spent 20 years, it's not something that they decided to do because they were blind. They trained themselves. They went through a 1 year of training to become a therapist or a physiotherapist or a massage therapist. अब वो कह रहे हैं कि नहीं, हमने कर लिया, 30 साल की उम्र में हम क्या नहीं सीखेंगे. But they'll soon have to, so that counseling I'm doing with so many of them. And I continue to pay salaries to some of the therapists, because at the end of the day, as you rightfully said, 390 is a completely advocacy-driven organization. And in a country like ours, which is so charity and donation-oriented, advocacy is not hugely funded, whether it is CSR or whether it is corporate. It's not funded. So I anyway have a lot of difficulty in getting my indigenous, typical projects funded. As you know, I'm just ready with a disability awareness game kit. It's the first of its kind anywhere in the world. But now the game kits are lying in the office. We can't go to schools. I don't see anything happening for at least another year, because you are in the education sphere, Aarti, and you would know that there would be so much of backlog. अब जब स्कूल खुलेंगे, उनके पास इतना करिकुलम खत्म करने के लिए होगा कि वो किसी और को जगह नहीं देंगे. They will not ask me कि नहीं, आप आके 2 घंटे का वर्कशॉप कीजिए. So I just have to be patient. But knowing me, now I'm trying to digitize those games to see to it how I can offer the same thing to the schools, but as a digitized game. So it's difficult, Aarti, and I acknowledge you asking me this question, because as you know, 390 is 10-year-old, but I run it single-handedly. We have some exciting. You mentioned Pehli Barish. अब पहली बारिश में जो मेरे ब्लाइंड म्यूजिशियन फ्रेंड्स हैं, जो प्रोफेशनल हैं, पूरी म्यूजिक इंडस्ट्री हैज बीन वेरी बैडली अफेक्टेड. एंटरटेनमेंट इंडस्ट्री इज वेरी बैडली अफेक्टेड. इसका मतलब वो जो ब्लाइंड हैं म्यूजिशियंस, उनको भी तो दुगना एक अफेक्ट हुआ है ना उन पर. उनकी रोजी रोटी तो मारी गई ना. So all of us, this would be nice for people who are watching us and hearing us on Facebook to know that everyone is having challenges and everyone is figuring out ways of how they would adjust to this new reality. So those of us who feel we are alone, you're not alone. We are all in it together. The shape, the size, the kind of challenges, उसका चेहरा बदल जाता है, लेकिन challenge हर इंसान इस वक्त जूझ रहा है चुनौतियों से.
Ritika, I would like to also to extension to what you talked about training and things like that. I think some of the institutes are also giving trainings right now in online training. Some of them, whoever wants basic computer knowledge, even advanced training through online, or even they have staying facilities. So MBA Foundation is one of them, and I think Parisar Asha will also give the contacts for that.
Yes.
I think because they are doing an excellent job right now of giving training to those who would want to newly, since it's completely going to be a new world and it's a new now that we have to live in. Thinking about our future, we also need to think about how we can secure our future. And from that point of view, I think these trainings will be so important to do. And we will give you the details of those also later on. Parisar Asha will also be conducting some
Yes,
of
so
the courses,
we
right?
are also, I mean, we are conducting for teachers, we are conducting for students. So in fact, we would be also happy to help, like whichever way is possible.
Right.
Yeah. So Shabina, I think now it's your turn, because
Yeah.
Shabina, yesterday when we were discussing about this particular
Hello,
situation,
Sabina.
yeah,
Hi, hello.
Sabina, yeah.
yes. So and within, I think when we discussed, and in half an hour's time, I just somehow, like I got back to my mom's ex-colleagues, and I said, "Ki, do you know anyone who can help us in the sign language?" So he gave me some 2-3 numbers, and I said, "किसको phone करूँ?" तो मैंने ऐसे ही करके, okay, let me just call her first. And in first call only she said, "Yes, I'm in" करके. So yesterday
Thank
we
you.
spoke, and today you are here, and
Yeah.
she told me about her story. I think, Shabina, you are the right person to share about your experiences working with this Divyang, because I'm
Yeah.
sure you have very interesting things to share. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gesture also
So,
that you are here today.
yeah, thank you so much. So, I'm audible to everyone?
Yes, yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yes. So, thank you so much for inviting on this platform. So, I'll start quickly. So, when you say there is a 10%, ma'am said that there is only 10% people with PWD and 90% people are, we can say, normal, how we say. But in my family, the case was quite different. I am having a four brother who are deaf, and I'm the only child who's hearing in the family. So even my father is blind, my mom is hard of hearing. So I was the only child for the community, as we say, normal or a proper child, or you can say जिसमें कोई disability नहीं है. So I was the only child who can hear and talk. So अगर मैं मेरे बचपन की बात करूँ तो yes, I was a my first language was sign language, because there was my four brothers were there. So ice cream लेना हो या कहीं जाना हो या job interview हो, school का admission हो, तो I was the only one who was like ready to be a free interpreter for them. So all my childhood, and in my area where I stay at Muhammad Ali Road, and the population of deaf community is quite huge in my area. So there are, you can, around 250 people. We have a small group, we chat together every evening, we meet, we have a shop. So every after 9 o'clock we go there and we have a chat, and every day. So this was my childhood, and after that this community I have, मैंने ये फील्ड को नहीं चूज किया कि मैं एज अ स्पेशल एजुकेटर बनूं और साइन लैंग्वेज ये फील्ड ही नहीं, मीन्स अडेप्ट कर लिया मुझे. सो आई नेवर वेंट टू आस्किंग फॉर एनीबॉडी दैट आई वांट टू बी a sign language interpreter educator. So like I went with the flow. I did my sign language, I did my BEd in hearing impairment, and today I'm working with Eklavya Foundation, which is a CSR activity of Mirchi and Mime and Madira and Mime. Many people knows, and my director is also in this call. So I have worked with all the ages, like with the deaf people from childhood to like 0 से 40 years के बच्चों, deaf बच्चों के साथ मैं फिलहाल काम कर रही हूँ. education, job, matrimonial. We do different type of services for them. And I individually मैंने अकेले से एक institute start किया है, which is AJ Tutorials for Deaf. And वो भी मैंने खुद ने start नहीं किया. There was 5 people, they came to me and they said I want to do higher education. So वो एक deaf community आ गई. तो I started with a tuition. So it was a tuition kind of thing, and now it becomes a classes. Now I have 130 students who are doing their higher education. मुंबई जैसे शहर में, महाराष्ट्र जैसे शहर में 10वीं SSC होने के बाद में स्पीच एंड हियरिंग बच्चों के लिए आगे पढ़ाई के लिए कोई अपॉर्चुनिटी नहीं है. तो मैंने सिंगल हैंडली, इंडिविजुअली टेकिंग डोनेशंस फ्रॉम माय एरिया, MLA, friends, family members and people started this initiative. But even we say about education, but we have always remember that there is a quality education we must say. Okay, तो जो स्पेशल बच्चे हैं उनको क्वालिटी एजुकेशन तो मिल रहा है स्पेशल स्कूल में, बट वो क्वालिटी एजुकेशन मिल रहा है क्या, वो बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है. और जहाँ तक इंक्लूजन की बात हो रही है, तो साइन लैंग्वेज अभी भी आप देख रहे हो, आप बहुत सारे वेबिनार्स हो रहे हैं, बट वो अभी भी कम्युनिकेशन से दूर ही है. साइन लैंग्वेज को अभी भी कोई इतनी मान्यता नहीं मिली हुई है, पेरेंट्स अडेप्ट नहीं कर पाते हैं. जैसे मैम ने कहा कि डेफ कम्युनिटी में भी काफी वेरिएशंस है, उनमें खुद में ग्रुप्स है. हार्ड ऑफ हियरिंग पीपल ले लो, वो बोल सकते हैं, काफी कुछ सुन सकते हैं, उनको मशीन हेल्प करती है. बट जहाँ पे प्रोफाउंड डेफ की बात की जाए, वो फुली डिपेंड होते हैं साइन लैंग्वेज पे. बट फिर भी उनपे इवन डॉक्टर्स बोलते हैं कि उनपे स्पीच थेरेपी एंड ऑडियोलॉजीज एंड मशीन काम नहीं करेगा, बट स्टिल पेरेंट्स उस पर नहीं हमारा बच्चा बोलेगा. और फिर वो क्या हो जाता है, वो बच्चा स्पीच में और साइन लैंग्वेज में एकदम से कंफ्यूज हो जाता है. और फिर जब SSC हो जाती है, तो वो एजुकेशन जो उसको मिलनी चाहिए वो नहीं मिल पाती है. एंड फिर उनको जब मेरे पास वो बच्चे आते हैं आफ्टर 10th, तो आई मस्ट से कि मुझे 0 से स्टार्ट करना पड़ता है. यस, आई हैव टू स्टार्ट विद ABCD विद देम. तो ये जो डेफ का एजुकेशन है, यहाँ मुझे बहुत सारे लोग सुन रहे भी होंगे, तो आई डोंट वांट टू से इट्स रियली पैथेटिक. देयर इज द ओनली वर्ड आई कैन से फॉर डेफ एजुकेशन. कुछ बच्चे हैं बहुत अच्छा कोप अप कर पाते हैं, कुछ स्कूल्स हैं जो काफी अच्छे से कर रहे हैं, बट यहाँ पे हम बोलते हैं पेरेंट्स की जिम्मेदारी है. पेरेंट्स अभी भी पेरेंट्स में भेदभाव है बोलने सुनने वाले बच्चों के लिए और डेफ बच्चों के लिए. और मेरे फैमिली के बारे में मैंने बताया, मैंने मेरी मॉम को देखा है, 4 बच्चे जो हैंडीकैप है, डेफ है, जो बोल नहीं सकते, सुन नहीं सकते, उन्होंने कैसे रेस किया है उनको. और जो भी challenges है, every day is a challenge, every minute a challenge for her. But now everybody is settled, married, they all have 2 kids, so they all are settled down. But because my parents, my father, I'm really thankful to God that my brothers we got very such a wonderful parents, so we know they all are settled now. But मैंने देखा है जहाँ पे एक भी बच्चा होता है, पेरेंट्स बहुत डिफिकल्टी फील करते हैं और इतना इनिशिएटिव नहीं ले पाते हैं जितना उन्हें लेना चाहिए, ताकि थोड़ा सा आई अंडरस्टैंड इनिशिएटिव बच्चों के लिए लेना ही है, चाहे वो बच्चा बोलने सुनने वाला हो या मुकबधिर हो. लेकिन यहाँ पे थोड़ा इनिशिएटिव ज्यादा पड़ जाता है कि उनका थेरेपी है, उनके क्लासेस है, उनके डिफरेंट एजुकेशन मटेरियल्स है या प्लेटफॉर्म्स है, काफी डिफिकल्ट है. तो बच्चे ऐसी 5 साल जब तक 5 साल के होते हैं तब तक तो स्कूल भी नहीं जा पाते. जब उनका एडमिशन होता है तो काफी लेट होता है. तो काफी कुछ challenges है. और right now, so I was working with the school, so I have tried my level best to improve quality education for deaf. I was working with I was doing research and I was making a content for e-learning for deaf. अभी जो situation चल रही है, टीचर्स को काफी डिफिकल्टी, मुझे भी काफी कॉल्स आते हैं, मैम आप वेबिनार ले लो, बट फॉर डेफ किड्स ऑनलाइन टीचिंग सक्सेसफुल इम्पॉसिबल है. बिकॉज उसमें आधे बच्चे हैं जो स्पीच टैक्टाइल से पढ़ाई करते हैं और कुछ है जो साइन लैंग्वेज से पढ़ाई करते हैं. और जब तक वो बच्चे मेरे सामने नहीं होंगे मुझे वो फील नहीं आएगा. आज भी मैं इंटरप्रेटिंग कर रही थी, बट आई एम मिसिंग द स्टेज. जब मैं स्टेज पे होती हूँ और मेरे पास काफी एक प्रॉपर, आई वाज मिसिंग द स्टेज. सो ऑनलाइन टीचिंग, तो ये बच्चे उनका मेमोरी भी काफी भूल जाते हैं जल्दी. छोटे बच्चे जो हैं, तो अभी 6 महीने से तो वो स्कूल गए नहीं है, तो जो भी स्पेशल एजुकेटर, स्पीच थेरेपिस्ट का इतना एफर्ट रहा होगा उनको वर्ड सिखाने में, वो भी काफी भूल गए होंगे. और मुझे काफी कॉल्स आते हैं. तो यार लॉकडाउन का बहुत ज्यादा असर छोटे बच्चे जो डेफ है उन पे पड़ा है. उनको फिर से 0 से स्टार्ट करना पड़ेगा. और काफी जो अडल्ट हैं जो हायर एजुकेशन की तरफ आते नहीं है बट उनको खींचना पड़ता है, अब वो शायद फी और टेक्स्ट बुक्स और ये सारे प्रॉब्लम्स की वजह से एक साल अपना स्किप भी करेंगे। तो दिस इज द इशू इन डेफ एजुकेशन करंटली। और जहाँ तक मैं एकलव्य की बात करूँ, सो वी आर देयर एज अ लाइक वी प्रोवाइड जॉब्स फॉर देम। सो लकीली इन शॉर्ट पीरियड ऑफ स्पैम वी आर प्रोवाइडेड, उनको हम लोगों ने ट्रेनिंग के साथ साथ अमेजोन, फ्लिपकार्ट, महिंद्रा एंड इवन मैं अभी मैम से मैं कनेक्ट कर रही हूँ, तो हम लोगों ने एज अ डेफ मसविस भी प्रोवाइड किया है नार मेडिकल सेंटर में। सो दे आर वर्किंग एज अ मसविस ओवर देयर एंड दे आर हैप्पीली वर्किंग देयर। मिर्चियन मैम खुद में एक बहुत बड़ा एग्जाम्पल है बच्चों के लिए डिप्लॉयमेंट के लिए। So individually and with organization from my childhood, I am with deaf community and yeah, there is lots of things to change. साइन लैंग्वेज इंटरप्रिटेशन की भी बात की जाए, आज कोविड-19 के इतने सिचुएशन है, हर दिन पीएम एंड सीएम आते हैं टीवी पे, हर दिन कुछ ना कुछ रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशन चेंज होता है, बट देयर इज नो एक्सेसिबिलिटी। ओके, तो जब तक उनको एक्सेसिबिलिटी होता है तब वो नया रूल्स एंड रेगुलेशन ऑलरेडी आ जाता है मार्केट में। तो इट्स वेरी डिफिकल्ट। इवन पीएम एंड सीएम दे शुड अंडरस्टैंड दैट दे शुड come with the speech with the sign language interpreter. The Doordarshan provide करता है sign language interpretation, but the quality of interpretation is not good. Deaf community बहुत सालों से उस पे बात करी है कि हमारे को साइन लैंग्वेज इंटरप्रेटर दिखाया जाता है इतना छोटा, उनको दिखा दिया कॉर्नर में, दिखाई नहीं देता है प्रॉपरली, प्लस उनके साइंस भी ओल्ड डेटेड है। सो बेचारे बहुत दिनों से एडवोकेसी कर रहे हैं, एजुकेशन नहीं है, तो देयर आर लॉट्स ऑफ थिंग। ये सारी चीजें तभी
एक्सेसिबिलिटी, सबीना, ये जो एक्सेसिबिलिटी की बात है ना, ये
जी
डेफ के साथ साथ इनफैक्ट बाकी जो डिसेबल्ड कम्युनिटी है उनको
राइट
वो इंफॉर्मेशन इन एक्सेसिबल फॉर्मेट में हर इंसान को समस्या हो रही है। जो दृष्टिबाधित है उनको भी हो रहे हैं, जो बधिर हैं उनको भी हो रहे हैं। सो दैट हैज टू बी, द गवर्नमेंट हैज टू रियलाइज दैट इफ दे वांट to consider everybody equally, then they need to be able to give out information in accessible formats. You're absolutely right. And I must, Shabina, I've been seeing you for a long time, and it is such a pleasure to hear your story. And I must tell Aarti and Geeta that Shabina has done sign language interpretation for me on stage, and she really is big on stage, and she commands the stage. So I can imagine that she finds this small space
screen,
very very constricting. I can understand. But thank you so much, Shabina, for coming on board to do this for us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much,
amazing,
everyone.
amazing, Shabina. I think your journey has been really inspirational for so many.
Thank you. Thank
you have really enlightened us, with your experiences.
Right.
Because see what happens in a normal homes when you don't have, like these kind of situations. We are really unaware, what the other person is going through. So as rightly Geeta said, the inclusive education should be promoted.
Right.
We have to take that extra efforts, go extra miles, because see today everybody, like to be frank, we are all lazy today. We don't want to take that extra effort for anything. And with this particular digital technologies, and I see people like our children, even adults, they are so glued, happily spending their time whole day in front of the screen. We are very happy.
Right.
And अभी तो मतलब दूसरा कुछ करने लायक भी नहीं है जिंदगी में,
यही कर रहे हैं। Right.
So, but then there is
but
so
Shabina,
much.
I must tell you, Shabina,
Yes,
I must tell you that I Vishesh did a sign language course for 7 sessions, and I attended that. So I did basic sign language का जो course था, क्योंकि जैसे मैं कह रही थी, कलकत्ते में तो मैंने अमेरिकन साइन लैंग्वेज सीखा था, और इंडियन साइन लैंग्वेज अब दोस्तों के साथ बोल लेती हूँ, तो मैंने कहा सीखा जाए, तो इस बार इस लॉकडाउन में मैंने वो बेसिक अपना कंप्लीट किया है।
Great. So,
Geeta, you're mute. Yeah, Geeta, your audio.
Sorry. I learned sign language when I was in 7th standard, and around when I was just graduating at that time for Scouts and Guides, I started a movement, Scout and Guide movement for the physically challenged actually. And I used to be the interpreter in all the camps, and made so many hearing impaired friends actually. So something which, and I'm still continuing to be with their friends. And
and I would like to say here that I have done sign language book. I've done illustrations for sign language for Alia Bhatt.
Oh, great,
Yeah.
great. Would like to see that book.
Yeah. So I mean, this been many years ago, but then I used
Okay.
to, you know, like be with them. They used to. I mean, I was doing freelancing. They used to call me also for this. They're special educators. I used to conduct one special, you know, like session for them on. I used to do what form drawing. Yeah, I used to conduct
Right.
because drawing is very important. You know, like especially
Right,
yeah, deaf.
right.
You know, so
Why can't
that's
I
what.
see you, Aarti? Where are you? I can't see you.
Yeah, I'm there. You
Oh,
can.
there you are.
Yeah,
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 there you
yeah.
are. Okay.
I'm here only. I've not gone anywhere.
She's the
Try
host.
to pin your video.
Yeah, I'm the host. Yeah, so great. I think that's
There are
really.
quite a few messages also,
Pardon?
I think there are quite a few messages which have come about talking about what they have faced during or right now during COVID-19 and how they have coped up and be the ones. So you want me to?
Yeah, yeah. You can just read out
Where are
because.
the messages?
Where are the messages, Geeta?
Yeah, it's uh, on my phone. It's come on my phone. Some of them have got my
Acha,
number.
your WhatsApp.
Yeah, on WhatsApp numbers. Yeah, yeah. So
Acha, acha, acha. Okay.
some of them who have been actually maybe independently staying
ha,
and
ha.
what problems basically because now they do not know how to deal with it because many of the societies have not been cooperating and things like that. So Alpa Patel, she's a banker, and another one is Nilima, and even Ninu Kevlani is also mentioned. Ninu Kevlani actually uses wheelchair and she needs a caretaker also, and she's also mentioned that it's very difficult even for people who need physiotherapy treatment, who need any kind of a treatment for patients. Basically, I feel that it's very important that the government has to have certain kinds of norms and rules and regulations so that they are not restricted from it. Because can you imagine for 3 months somebody is not done their therapy? What happens? Like how tough it would be after 3 months for them to go for any kind of a therapy. It could be speech therapy, it could be physiotherapy, it could be occupational therapy. It's going to be really difficult. Some of them who are independently living have their houses to their parents' places or they've gone to their friends' houses to stay because it's not feasible for them to stay alone now since grocery is becoming a problem. Going to a medical store is going to be becoming a problem. They do not have vehicles, so to even get a rickshaw or a taxi was getting a problem. So there are lots of problems, and I think these kinds of things there has to be some kind of a disaster committee where disability community needs to be part of.
Yeah, so I think great. I think we can now show those helpline numbers. In fact, we also have our helpline. So anybody would like to get in touch with us. So definitely we can direct it to the right NGO also. And otherwise, people can also view these other NGOs, their numbers we are flashing over here now. And meanwhile, any participants would like to ask any questions to our speakers, please, you can ask us, you can type in the chat box or even you can, unmute your mic and you can ask. Yeah, so these are the numbers from Tamil Nadu, Mumbai, Bangalore, Punjab, Delhi. Okay, there is a question. Are there any rules about facilities required in a school for inclusive education?
No. I think when you want to make your own school, I'm presuming you want to make your own school inclusive or open to all. I think basic things. If you have for especially for wheelchair users, for children with physical disabilities, it would be interesting to have accessible doorways, accessible pathways. So you have a ramp, you have an accessible toilet. There are schools who have maybe there are, I know of a lot of schools who don't have so much of, it's an old building, they're not being able to do much, but there they've actually shifted the school, the class where the child with the disabilities from the top floor to the ground floor. So agar aap karna chahte hain, to you agar aapka, if your heart is in the right place, you just figure out a way to include that child in your class. But yes, I will be more than happy to give you certain specifications that you can keep in mind. For example, the doorway has to be a certain size so that the wheelchair can go in. As far as rules are concerned, it will be nice to have a special educator. Though I always feel that every teacher figures out a way to teach every child. If you have 60 students in a class, you have 60 abilities. Teachers don't realize that. It's just that when they see someone who looks different, there's a question mark. But every child in your class has its own learning style and learning speed. So you have just another one who looks different also, and also has a different learning style and a learning speed. I'll be more than happy to give you some suggestions. I'm just putting on my email ID, and you can write to me and I will give you certain specifications that you could do as far as infrastructure is concerned. And then certain things as far as professionals are concerned. I'm just putting my email ID.
Yeah, sure. Okay, there is one more question. With no income from 3 months, how will they manage the next year? Most NGOs' income has stopped. They cannot sell what they have produced. Any suggestions would be welcome. So
yes, so there are people with disabilities are found in all stratas, and you're talking about people with disabilities जो शायद daily wages करके कमाते हैं. So for example, they have been affected, but NGOs are helping out, but I don't think they can compensate for an income. They would help out. Geeta, the BMC, for example, will only help out vis-a-vis groceries and essentials. So they won't give money, would they? You're on mute, Geeta. You're on mute, Geeta. Yeah. Geeta, you're on mute. You're on mute.
Sorry. The question is basically the NGO's income had stopped. So how do they survive? So I think they will have to go online, and if it is for the crafts, if you're talking about
if it's craft, yes,
something to do with crafts and things like that, maybe they can have their sales. They can go through maybe different kinds of sites, and they can sell their products.
So Geeta, I received a message yesterday from Shushmita Bubna, who runs Voice Vision. So she has just started a new initiative called Faida, which is just for this. People who are NGOs who are creating products and want to sell them, that is a platform. Again, if you get in touch with me, I will. I just received this message yesterday. FAA. It's on my. I will put the website right now. I just received the message yesterday. It is for the same thing, that you can sell your products through that website, and it is being run by another NGO. Voice Vision is an NGO. So here is the website. 1 minute. Yeah. So here is a website. Website is FAIYDA. FAIDA. FAIYDA. It has a Facebook page also called FAIYDA numerical 4 ALL. I'm just writing it out.
I've written.
Okay.
You just tell me. Faida.
FAIY.
FAIY. Okay.
DA. Number 4.
Yeah. All.
ALL.
Yeah. It's .com?
It has a YouTube channel also. No. So Facebook may be here, and there's a youtube.com channel.
Okay.
Aarti, I am forwarding it to you right now.
Okay, sure.
I have also sent you my email ID for any kinds of training sessions for soft skills or for life skills and things like that. So if anybody wants to get in touch, maybe can get in touch.
Absolutely. Any other question? Of course, you can always get in touch with Parishar Asha for if you have anything specific, and if they feel they can get in touch with us and pass on your message to us.
Yeah. So I think we can close over here, and of course we'll close on a nice musical note because since Ritika is over here. So Ritika, now stage is all
I'm going
yours.
to sing a song which is sung everywhere, but अचानक मुझे और कुछ सूझा नहीं, तो मैं आ चल के तुझे गाऊंगी ताकि सब गा सकें.
Wow, lovely song of Kishore Da. Yeah.
आ चल के तुझे मैं लेके चलूं एक ऐसे गगन के तले, जहां गम भी ना हो आंसू भी ना हो, बस प्यार ही प्यार पले. आ चल के तुझे मैं लेके चलूं एक ऐसे गगन के तले, जहां गम भी ना हो आंसू भी ना हो, बस प्यार ही प्यार पले, एक ऐसे गगन के तले. सूरज की पहली किरण से आशा का सवेरा जागे, सूरज की पहली किरण से आशा का सवेरा जागे, चंदा की किरण से धुलकर घन घोर अंधेरा भागे, चंदा की किरण से धुलकर घन घोर अंधेरा भागे. कभी धूप खिले कभी छाँव मिले, लंबी सी डगर न खले. That's what you have to remember. कभी धूप तो कभी छाँव. नीरज जो हमारे कवि थे, उनका एक बहुत अच्छा बढ़िया 4 लाइन है. सुख दुख दोनों रहते जिसमें, जीवन है वो गाँव. कभी धूप कभी छाँव, कभी धूप तो कभी छाँव. ऊपर वाला पासा फेंके, नीचे पड़ते दांव. कभी धूप कभी छाँव. Remember, we are all in it together. All in it together. Thank you so much.
Amazing Ritika. Thank you so much. Thank you Geeta, thank you Shabina. I mean, you really made this session so enriching, and there's so much learning what has happened for all of us over here. And I think keep up all like whatever you're doing, great work, and I'm sure after seeing this session, after attending this session, we all need to be little more empathetic. We all need to be little more sensitive towards our friends who are not so privileged. So I think this is the takeaway for all of us. In whichever way we can contribute, we can go out of our way to support others. Be it, they will be from anywhere, any part of society, any kind of society. But I think we all need to do our bit. And as rightly Ritika said, अगर हर जो 90% जो लोग है अगर खुद अपना काम करने लगेंगे, and so this 10% will be really in we can call that as an inclusive society then.
Absolutely.
Great.
Absolutely.
Yes, right.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Asha.
Thank you for inviting
Asha
us.
and Arti.
Thanks,
Geeta. Lovely seeing you, even if it's online.
Yeah, it was a very interactive session. Maybe we can have some more.
Yes,
sure.
definitely.
Thank you, Sabina, and thank you everybody who joined us.
Thank you, Shabina.
Thank you so much. Thank you.